we move to the next team, which is KKR. Dan, do you feel they overperformed last season? I'm just looking at the reverse order. I just somehow felt that we are pretty late talking about Kolkata.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think that their batting really let them down last year, and Bazball, if you like, certainly didn't work in the IPL in 2022. They had a really bad batting stability as a group, and certainly struggled in the power play in particular. And with that, in conjunction with difficulties with their death bowling, was probably the biggest hurdles that they faced last season. Now, moving forward, they did a lot of their business pre-auction with Charles Tucker, Gurbars, and Lockie Ferguson all coming into the group. So they were never going to be prolific at auction in terms of the amount that they could spend, and so they still picked up, I think, some players who can help them in terms of the areas that they needed to improve. So I looked at them and I thought that they needed another keeping option, and they've kind of ticked off that box with KS Bharat.
With Jagdishan, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I got the wrong one. Sorry, yeah, wrong note. Sorry, yeah, Jagdishan. Sorry, and then Litton Das as well as kind of a backup option as well. Although again, I think with Litton Das, it's a bit like one of the comments we had. I think it was Anirudh a few minutes ago, talking about performances against India, and I do think that Litton Das benefited from that tax, if you like, in terms of you play well against India, and somehow those runs are worth more in the IPL auction a lot of the time. So so they brought in a keeper batter, and they also, I thought, they needed a backup all rounder. And they did that with David Visa and Shakib Al Hassan offering different skill sets as well. I also thought the bowling generally needed improvement, and they didn't really do a lot with it. I don't see Kulwant Koshroliya as a starter, but Vihab Aurora, who he had a mixed bag of performances, I think, for PBKs last season, but has ability, certainly in the power play. Looks an interesting pickup as well, so to reinforce the domestic bowling stocks. So I think they looked a little bit to kind of pick up some players who could improve them. Not sure Gurbars will do much for their stability. He's certainly a kind of a Bazball player, if you like. Generally you can kind of see where they were going a little bit at auction. Although, I'd say with such a low purse, it was really difficult for them to make big purchases.
So, I mean, what did you think of the pre-auction business that they did? They bought Shardul. They spent a lot on Shardul and Lockie.
Yeah. So Lockie, I understand, because I think that there was a good chance that he would have been bid up quite high at auction. Maybe not as far as 10, but I understand why they would pick him up before the auction and take that risk out of the equation. And we saw that premium players were really highly valued at mini auction this year, so you can kind of see the logic there. Gurbars was an absolute steal. I still can't understand why he was let go. And Thakur, I think, was a good trade for DC rather than KK. I mean, I'm not sold on Shardul Thakur as a T20 player, because you're looking at him as kind of, I don't even see him necessarily as a 4-over bowler, and I don't see him as a premium phase bowler in terms of the guys who can use bankers in power play or death, for example. And I don't see his hitting is of a good enough standard to kind of overcome those bowling deficiencies. So I kind of see this guy as someone who is not quite good enough to get in the team as a batter or a bowler a lot of the time, but because he offers a bit of both, he kind of gets a lot of love. But the problem is that you can't pay 10 or 11 crore for that type of player. And I've seen some teams, sort of sample teams, suggested where he's batting at 7. That's horrible. He's not a number 7 at this level. There's any debate about that. So let's see. I'm okay with the two trades in with Ferguson and Gerbars, but less so for Tucker.
Maybe do you think it's possible for KKR to maybe use Shardul as a pinch hitter, like how they've used Narayan, especially against pace, because Narayan's pace pinch hitting or hitting the ball is
Yeah, I think you got the
sorry,
gist of the question. So
my net actually went
Yeah,
off. Uh,
yeah. Well, they've already got Narayan who can do that, so I don't really see why they would want to go down a Takura. And personally, I mean, for a player to pinch hit, I think they've got to be able to have a low value on their wicket, which I think he does have. But I also think that you want someone who can have high boundary percentage or ability to hit over the infield on a consistent basis. And I'm not sure that Tucker is really that type of player. I want someone who's perhaps more like intent merchant, someone who's going to hit aerially a bit more. I'm not sure he's that guy.
yeah. Uh, any possibility do you see maybe Liton Das playing ahead of someone like Gurbaz? I know he's not been keeping the gloves in recent times, but say if Gurbaz is not scoring runs, uh,
Mm.
who do they replace Gurbaz with in the first 11? Is it Shakib, or is it, because if Liton is not going to keep gloves, then they'll have to play someone like Jagdishan.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different combos I think that KKR can bring in. So you can have Jagadish as a keeper, and then you could play Litton Das as just a batter. Or you can, they've got so many all rounders. Visa, Shakib, Russell, Narayan. There are a lot of combos that they can play. I think that it's going to be really interesting to see it. But the problem is that they could chop and change quite a lot as well. Have someone fails for 2 games and someone else gets to go, and it's quite difficult to predict their best team. I think on this situation. Personally, I mean, I think Gabars could be a potential superstar, and his ceiling's really really high. But he doesn't really address the stability issues from last season, which perhaps Litton Das or Jagadish can do more. But if you ask me who's going to be the best player in 5 years' time, and go for the most money in the auction in 5 years' time, we go back by a mile. So it all depends already on the reason why players are recruited. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about always having that pathway to being selected. I mean, you can't just pick a player and then not have a clue how you're going to use them. You have to pick a player and think, okay, well, this is how they're going to feature regularly in the starting 11 if it all turns out well. And this is kind of, you look at this KKR team and you think, okay, well, without Gurbars, without David Visa, with Russell, if Russell's injured or not playing well, where's the hitting coming from? There's a lot of 125, 130 strike rate guys in that team. Like Nitish Rana, Shreyas Iyer, Jagadish never really shown. Yes, he's done well domestically recently, but he's never shown a high ceiling at IPL level before. Venkatesh Iyer still has something to prove too. Shakib Al Hassan is not a hitter. So there are various ways that they could structure up, and I think that this KKR, how they select their teams and their strategy is going to dictate so much for them in this competition. I don't think a lot of the teams that you look at now and you think, okay, well, it's pretty easy to pick a core group of 15 or starting 11. I'm not sure that it is with KKR. So yeah, there's 18 players who could conceivably play a reasonable amount.
My feeling is that KKR's team might be the most most ill suited to their home venue because of the kind of pitch or the venue Eden Gardens is. I don't think that their bowling is good enough for that venue, because you need very good bowlers for that venue, and you need a lot of batters who can play short of or back of length quite well. And I think uh, they don't have an option for that. They'll probably need someone like Rinku Singh to have a great season to probably ensure that they're consistently posting scores upwards of 180, especially while playing at Eden. And I don't think scores upward of 180 are are safe. I don't think even scores of upwards of 200 are safe at Eden. So 180 may not even cut it if they're batting at Eden Gardens.
Hmm. Yeah, this is where exactly I felt that someone like a Will Smith could be a good buy for them even from a future perspective. But they had other ideas. But though I still feel that Gurbaz ought to start for them because they clearly struggled against pace, and at least Gurbaz has that intent against pace and decent numbers to go with it.